are at level 1 on the math assessment, and 30.17 students in the district are at level 1 in the ELA CAP. So we feel like by having a collaboration and looking at high quality effective instruction, we can reduce the number of kids in level 1 in math and ELA. And then we just need to provide that effective instructional strategies and effective collaboration professional development for the system as we start building that. So I'm meeting starting on Friday with the DLT and PDC members. We have 5 times I'm going to meet, so depending on if they can come, it's just come when you can. And we're going to talk about the action plan, get some feedback on collaboration as we get ready to build next year's calendar and see what that feedback is. So hopefully after the first of the year, we have some guidance when the calendar committee gets together. We can bring that to the table of where we're at with what collaboration could look like, what that process could be as it built into the calendar as we move forward. So that's where we're at. We're hoping to get the feedback in the near future for this as it's submitted to KSDE, and then we'll start having the conversation about the implementation of this action plan, starting with DLT, giving the guidance, and then moving into the calendar, getting the calendar built for next year. So, anything to add about KISA plan, guys? So just part of the process we have to do, and then we'll have to update this and manage it every year. It's my understanding in the KISA process. So,
is this so this is an annual requirement, right?
Right.
So is this going to change? Is action plan going to change year to year?
It could, depending. Hopefully our targets update, and we can, we'll check that off. So we're moving into another target as it moves on. Whether it's collaboration or any part of that, the structured literacy, where that's headed based on the training that's being provided. So it's something we'll continue to evaluate as a district leadership team and share that information with the board. So,
Tina, of those that have completed letters training, do we know percentage-wise how many have met that 80% or higher?
You won't know until the first assessment's given, which is, I think it's around the end of May or beginning of June. I want to say our last session is May 29th for our cohort students. And then I think sometime in June, they have to take that big assessment.
Right.
And so we'll know at that point if they passed it at 80% or higher. Does that make sense, Ellie?
I thought that component was for the teachers that took letters. Is that not it? So that's the teachers take the assessment, not students?
Exactly. It's the teachers that take the test.
Yeah. Sorry.
yeah, for that 80% completion. Yeah.
The teachers have to pass it at 80% or higher. Otherwise, it's not considered to be passing the letters for first year volume 1.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they have to do the same thing the second year.
Okay. And in what we put together for payment was that they had to pass.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
On the professional learning, who are like each individual staff person, do they evaluate themselves as far as what their effective instruction strategies are, or
we hope to build that.
Evaluate,
we hope to build that within the professional learning community. Corey, honestly, is where that comes from, and that comes from the teachers building that from within the content areas.
A small group per building.
Yeah. So it's
that group then evaluates.
Yes.
Teachers
and they're
in their own building.
Well, not necessarily evaluate, but they monitor data as it relates to the conversations they've been having with instruction, assessments.
More like they analyze it, in my mind. They analyze the structures that they're using. Are they being effective in the classroom based upon the data that's being shown? So not really evaluating.
Yeah, don't want to use the word evaluate.
But analyze. But it is. It's having those conversations, bringing that data to the table, and say, well, I taught it this way, and I taught it this way, and based on the assessment that we gave, they gave a common assessment. Then it's maybe one shows a little more effectiveness than the other strategy, and so they have those kind of professional learning community conversations because we just need to know, because we had that a little bit with 612 ELA talking about
Grammar.
Should it be taught within
Isolation.
Thank you. Isolation, or should it no, you're good, because I was struggling to get there. Isolation or within the literature pieces to do that. And so there was kind of a debate going on, and I wish it would have got to, well, I'll teach it this way, and then you teach it this way, but we'll give this assessment. All kids will take this assessment, and we'll just kind of compare and see. And that's analyzing what it is to see what's more effective and things of that nature. And then we can provide the data as it relates to instructional strategies. We're doing them, or we just might not be calling them the same thing that Marzano calls them or something, and we can say, and then we can build that common language like Dina's talking about, whether it's in language, math, and hopefully by K-12 we can have some common language that's going through as it relates to instruction, standards, and assessment.
What do you use as measurable, aside from the test?
That's the main component for KISA. That's the main component is the state assessment. That's really what it comes down to for KISA. We'll have other local assessments. They build these common assessments through this process of the PLC that will have that local measures that, okay, we've done it. We're going to give all these kids assessments based on what they've learned, because that's the point of a professional learning community. We identify what we want to teach, and then we see if they're learning it. And through common assessments that we build locally as the professionals in the classrooms. So.
That could be outside of just a standardized fill the bubble test.
Yeah, but they can come to that with, the 612 ELA people, build those, let's do this assessment and give it to everybody. And I know we have the singletons, we have one sophomore teacher, one freshman teacher, but it's still working towards that common, goal of student improvement and student achievement, but they're having the time to have those conversations. 4 half collaboration days is not enough time right now, in my opinion. And this would give them more frequent, more regular to come to and bring that and have those conversations to analyze data, talk about assessments, really focus on what we want those kids to learn and what they should be doing. And it's just building that time in there through the professional learning community.
So some people may not need to change what they're doing if they're successful.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But the ones that aren't as successful may need to adapt.
But we don't want them in isolation doing that by themselves. Then we want them to share, here's what I'm doing. This is what's working for me. And so maybe we have a newer teacher that, maybe, so we bring them together in collaboration and they learn from each other through that. So, but the results are the results. That's what we focus on, So we have a lot of learning to do with the formalized professional learning community, and we started as an admin team. We'll start growing that out and visiting with the DLT and the PDC, talking about going to a professional learning conference, community conference, to really see how it is in action, working with the professionals, and it opens a lot of eyes. I've been to that. It really just makes you think about how to collaborate differently than what we typically do.
So what's the timeline on that? I mean, how fast does that have to be done?
Well, we've looked at, we're going to talk to the DLT and the PDC because there's dates available this summer to go to a conference, but we're going to get feedback on do they want to go during the summer or do they want to go during the school year? And so that could happen maybe late spring, we could go to something, or at the beginning of next school year when they come back, we can go to a PLC conference and take a core group to go to bring that information back. So it really depends on availability of the staff.
Can I ask you one thing?
Yeah.
For our new guests, can you explain what your acronyms are?
Which ones?
Your PLC and your
The DLT is District Leadership Team, so representatives from each building and the admin team or make up the district leadership team to have these conversations to provide feedback from the admin team, just to be in the loop and just share that out to the BLT, which is the building level teams. Each building has their BLT, which is identified leaders within the buildings, and the principals meet with them to kind of disaggregate this data and help get feedback too from there. So, and PLC is a professional learning community. It's a formalized collaboration process that we're working on. I've had significant training on it, but I'm trying to share that out and working through that as we grow this within our district. So.
PLC is just within the district, or is that more of a statewide or?
It's more of a district choice, local choice. There's adaptive schools, which is kind of similar, but it's kind of a next step from PLC, but I really feel like PLC is where we need to start, and I'll share that information with you, but it's really focusing on what we want the kids to learn, how do we know if they learn it, what do we do if they don't learn it, what if they do if they really learn it, so those kids that are getting it, they're not just sitting there just like, what are we doing for those kids too? And so it's having those kind of conversations within there. It could be K-12, it could be grade level, it could be 6-12. There's a variety of things, but we'll have different meetings that could look like and bring everybody together to try to know what the right hand and the left hand are doing. And so it's just finding that time to do that.
And that's what you use, you said your collaboration days?
Yes.
That's when you guys get together is on Wednesday?
Yeah, so we have half-day collaboration that are identified, and then we have 3 or 4 full PD days. They're more kind of for professional development, not necessarily, there's collaboration time built in there sometimes, but just depends on how that's organized. But we hope that through this collaboration process, we can really drive what happens on those full PD days, that where the needs are, and identify those, if we need to bring somebody in, if we need to provide time, and really help let the staff drive those PD days.
So this is probably a crazy question, but so like in the medical field, when we renew our license, we have to have so many hours of
Right.
continuing education. Is that required, do teachers have to have
Yes.
something similar to
Yeah,
that?
every 5 years, they have to renew, and so they can get professional development
And
points.
so those days help with that?
Yeah, so then
Okay.
we put them, they keep track of them, then we submit it, they submit it for themselves, and they have to get 120 or something, is it 120 every 5 years? Yeah, 120 points, or you can renew on experience and, or different things, there's options, but yes, they could receive professional development points for this time.
Any other questions? No. Any follow-ups on that?
Nope, so I'll give you an update when we get feedback from KSDE on our action plan to let you know where we're at.
Perfect, thank you. Let's swoop back to the top here and do our board vacancy. So what I want for our guests over here, just quick introduction of yourselves. Tell us a little bit about your background. I know we already have your resumes and a cover letter from you, but if you could, just so everyone, because not everyone's seen it, just so everyone kind of hears it, just a quick introduction of yourselves, and then we'll probably just go through and maybe each of us will ask you a question or so, nothing super formal. And then once all the questions and, discussions have been had, then we'll go through and we'll vote. So the way the voting is going to work is someone will nominate an individual, and there has to be 4 yays to make that person approved. If we don't get any, or we don't get enough votes for the first round, then someone will nominate someone else, and we'll just keep doing that until we get 4 yeses. That makes sense? All right. Whoever wants to go first, just stand up here in the little gauntlet and tell us who you are and give us a little rundown.
My name's Allison Pauley, or Allie Pauley. I graduated from Osage City High School in 2005. I continued my education at Emporia State. I have a bachelor's in science. And then I went to Washburn University to their physical therapy assistant program. So I'm a certified physical therapist. I work at Stormont Vale in their sports medicine and orthopedic clinic. I've been there for about 7 years. So I guess, do you want like my goal or whatever, or you just want an introduction?
Sure.
Okay, so I would like to be on the school board just to keep the kids in mind. My children are small and I want them to have a better education than I did. And I feel that as board members, we can really guide the community, help the students, support the teachers. I would like to work on staff retention so those teachers that maybe are not from here and they don't really have a need to stay here, but they're great educators. What are we doing? What are we providing to keep them in our community, to keep them here? I also think that finding teachers to come to us, so improving our standardized testing, making us look great so we can attract those teachers that want to succeed. And I also feel that the community and the school could benefit from an early education center or a daycare type center. For me, like I have to travel out of town for daycare. When I was looking, there was absolutely nothing. And I've heard the success of what the neighbors over there are doing. So I really think that would be beneficial for the community here. So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Craig Linners. I've been in Osage City since March 2020, which was a great time to move to a new
Let's not talk
town.
about it.
My daughter came here for one day and then never went to school again that year. So I work at Wolf Creek. I've been there for 9 years. I'm a reactor operator. My goal for the school board is to kind of give a unique perspective. I have 3 children. They're kind of spread out. A 7th grader, a 4-year-old, and a 6-month-old who was just born with Down syndrome. So I'll bring a unique perspective to the school board as far as having somebody who's in the special ed program and having been on the opposite end of that spectrum in the special ed program myself, so I can help work with that development, and just, I'd like to see the district grow in that regard.
The standing, I think, is the most nerve-wracking part. If I can sit, I'd feel a little better. I'm Alexander Carson. I moved to Osage City in 2019 when I married my husband. He is a lifelong Osage City resident, graduate of Osage City High School. I currently work for the USDA. I'm an IT project supervisor. I currently manage 2 application development contracts, one for FSA and one for the Risk Management Agency. Both have an annual budget of about $32 million. So I'm used to dealing with taxpayer funds and finding ways to be responsible and using ingenuity to get the most out of our taxpayer dollars, because as a taxpayer, that means a lot to me. I am interested in serving on the school board because I think that service to our community is important. I grew up in a small town, smaller than Osage City, and we ended up having to consolidate the year after I graduated with a smaller community, and I can understand what that does to communities and how schools are the heartbeat of communities, and so it's an important thing. I come from a family of educators. My mom, several of my aunts, several of my cousins, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, several of Scott's cousins are educators, and so I think not only my perspective of management experience, but also dealing with budgets and having teachers that like to pick my brain about things, business style, gives me a unique perspective. So I'm interested in serving. Oh, I also have 2 small children and another one on the way. So they will enter, my 2 small children will enter the school system next year. I volunteered in several opportunities throughout the community with the Conrad Carlson Foundation. I was one of the members of the committee that started the early childhood talks. I don't know what committee they're calling that now, but even before the school got involved, I worked with Shay and several other community members to get that going because, like Allie said, we had to travel out of town for daycare. So getting something up and going in Osage has been a real blessing for us. I've also volunteered out at the golf course, and I'm a member of Community Covenant Church and volunteer there in the nursery and other fundraisers. So I think it'd be a good asset, and I'd love to serve. Thanks.
That's kind of hard to follow. All of this is kind of hard to follow. I am not a public speaker. My name is Megan Thomas. I have lived in Osage City my whole life. Like Allie, I graduated from here in 2007. For 10 years ago, I became a juvenile service officer, so I was doing probation for specifically juveniles and families. Issues could range from anything from mental health, substance abuse, neglect, whatever the case may be. I currently work for the Ottawa Police Department in the Elizabeth Layton Center, which is our mental health center in Franklin County. I'm a crisis co-responder, so I ride around as a police officer 45 hours a week with him, and we go to any call from, again, mental health to death notification to I'm homeless, I need help, whatever the case may be. So I think just that with my experience and my flexibility but also having the ability to hold people accountable and being transparent, I think I would be an asset to the team.
Thank you. Megan. Does anyone have any questions?
Would any of you have any schedule conflicts to meet on Wednesday nights? Some of these meetings can run a little late.
I will be working shift work, going back to working shift work at Wolf Creek in March. So once every 6 weeks I'd be getting off at 7 p.m. and once every 6 weeks I'd be going into work at 7 p.m. So there would be a schedule conflict. I could, when I got off work at 7, phone in and then make it here as soon as I could. But that night shift one I would probably, if it fell on the board meeting night, would have to miss.
Any other questions? No? No? Anyone want to make a motion?
It would be easier if we left the room.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna be honest, it's a tough one, I know for you. So, it's hard, it is.
Do any of you currently sit on a board right now? Like
I do in Franklin County. I'm on their Homeless Coalition Board as well as our crisis intervention team in crisis response. It is not Wednesdays and so.
I'll move that we nominate Alex Carson.
I'll second.
Parsons.
Aye.
Wellmeyer.
Aye.
Eppenstall.
Aye.
Tice.
Aye.
Fagan.
Aye.
Linton.
Aye.
6-0, you are in favor.
Thank you all for coming in.
Thank you all. Just as a reminder, this is a one-year term, so I highly recommend that you guys do, file to be elected. I think all
By
of you.
June 1st.
I think so, yeah.
You have to file by June 1st with the county at the courthouse.
Yep.
If you're interested in being on the ballot, so.
There'll be, 3 positions open at that time?
Yes.
So just be on the lookout for it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I need to swear Alex in right now, so. Gonna make a stand. Yeah. Go ahead, if you'll raise your right hand. Okay. I state your name.
I, Alexander Carson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
and sincerely and truly declare
and sincerely and truly declare
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and faithfully discharge the duties of board member.
and faithfully discharge the duties of board member.
So help me God. You just sign right here.
That's hers.
Yeah, that's her stuff. Had to print it out.
A pile of stuff here.
Let's get it out.
I was getting that.
You have all that stuff. We just printed it out for whoever.
She don't have a computer.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so we printed out what we thought she might need.
Congratulations, Alex.
Stiff competition.
Yeah.
That's so hard.
I'm sure, and we're all standing there.
So I'll have an orientation with you, I'll schedule one.
Okay.
We'll just kind of get you in the loop of everything and before the next meeting in January, so just kind of get up to date on where things are and where it's headed and do that. So we'll get a time scheduled before the next board meeting to meet and go through that. for you. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on. Facilities.
So as to follow up from the whole early childhood conversation and, the direction from the board was to really look at the overall footprint of the district, start having those conversations. Dr. Hart from KSB, who did the superintendent search, is a graduate of OC, has agreed to kind of lead this conversation of facilities long-range planning process. So what he's proposed to you there, I've shared that for the tour purpose, that the Board of Education is seeking input from school community stakeholders for future facilities needs that best support student learning. In this time, the sessions will last around 90 minutes. We'll have a district overview and a purpose. Basically, I will give that, just kind of what the state of the state is to these groups that are invited in. And then Dr. Hart will go through these guiding questions to help get feedback for the board through those. And you can see those guiding questions that we've worked on to kind of lead those conversations. Those dates are set that we've worked on. Try to, it's January and February are busy, but we found some dates we thought would work to provide a multitude of opportunities for patrons to come in. And then at our February staff professional development, he'll be here to meet with the staff to get the feedback from them as part of this project or process as we go forward. So we're going to meet next Wednesday, him and I, just kind of get things kind of going and be ready for this when we have our first opportunity in January 21st. And we'll figure out a location and all that to do that as we get ready for that. So any questions, thoughts, comments?
It'll be sent out via.
Yeah, we're gonna send it in the newsletters. When they do their monthly newsletters, we'll do social media and everything is best in all the platforms, so we'll start getting that out, assuming everything's good here. But we'll make sure we get that information out there.
What are these Wednesday night events? Are they just something we're doing at the school that they're coming in? Or
Yeah, that's like in the cafeteria, just like we did for early childhood, just bring them in. And
the reason I asked, because you had made a mention about doing a basketball game.
yeah, so we try to coincide, and we might throw one of those in too at a night, but his schedule just didn't work, so he's still thinking about having a table or something, so he can get some feedback from just community members in that opportunity, so, but we didn't find a date as of right now to do that.
That would be a good opportunity.
Yeah, sure.
For us to book that.
Yeah.
The all-staff meeting, is that something that we could attend?
Oh, sure, yeah, you're welcome to come, yeah, for sure. And so he'll take all this information and we'll schedule a work session for the board. So he'll disaggregate all that, and then we'll just start having these conversations. We'll look at it, what the feedback was, what your thoughts are. We'll look at different aspects of bond issues and where that is and things, and those mill levy numbers, and we'll have that information for you. We'll talk about early childhood, what it would take to manage those, and just really have just a great conversation and work session as it goes through that to try to. Once we can get some direction from the board, then we can get in the architects again and go through that process of what that could look like once we kind of identify what those programs and spaces are that are needed and to really think about. And then we can go through that process with the architects to go through that.
So will there be an updated assessment like we did? It's been a couple years ago. We had a outline book of basically what the issues were and.
I still have that.
That would be
part of that conversation. I'll include that with what was in that facility, the facilities thing. Yeah. So like drainage is things, and I wrote a few of them actually down today just to remind me to do that. But I still have that as a referral that we can address as we go through that work session. Those things that were identified. Yes. So questions about the plan, timeline, concerns? Okay.
All right. KSB policy update.
So twice a year, KSB provides policy recommendation updates for school boards to consider, just based on what they provide as a legal service for school districts. Today, we're just giving this information to share it with you. No action will be taken today on these policy updates. We'll take action next month. As you can see, if you look at those first 3 pages, it just kind of highlights what some of those are, what those updates are. But if you scroll down to the bottom, it really lays out what those changes are through they call it the red line, what those changes are in red line for you to consider, and as we update that, to do that. So overall, basically what they're recommending is to there's 11 existing policy revisions that will be considered. 2 will be new policies. We'll be deleting 2 other policies. We have some forms that will be updated, mainly because of federal changes at the federal level. Those will be updated, and then the table of contents will be updated as well based on the changes for that. So just to highlight a few of these, just some grammatical errors with the BDA, which is developing, adopting, amending, and repealing board policy. So just some grammatical changes in that policy. The organizational chart, basically it says you can adopt an organizational chart whenever, and just we can update that as needed depending on changes that could happen during the school year. So They're recommending deleting CD and CGI, which is basically under administrator, policies related to administrators. And then CG would just be the administrative personnel, and then updated language in that to make it more cohesive and comprehensive by deleting those other two and embedding in CG administrative personnel. The preservation of documents, CNA, is just some grammatical updates and clarities for ease of use. Fraud prevention and investigation is revised based on some procedures that have been updated at the federal level as it relates to that, and DFAC, federal fiscal compliance, due to changes at the federal level and the current law, those need to be updated as well, and KSB is recommending those. And then that next section is just the forms that are related to federal fiscal compliance and making sure we're using federal funds appropriately and the updates that relate to that and the changes. There is a new policy, which would be fundraising. Districts have asked for this, for a district policy to be in place. So we'll be reviewing that. I've shared it with the admin team. I don't know that we'll have any recommendations right now to discuss, but could be some different languages as compared to what it is now. But we can talk about that in January, and I'll give you a heads up about those before the meetings. But the admin team is reviewing those, but districts have asked for this policy to be added to the overall policies just to help provide some guidelines and guidance.
Fundraisers like the kids.
Yeah, as it relates to school-related fundraising, so you can see what those recommendations are for that, and we might have some tweaks to it just to help fit us locally. Then complaints is just some grammatical changes in GAE, and then pilot projects is being revised as well, ICA, just some requirements under the Protection of Pupil Rights and Student Data Privacy Act that need to be updated. Special education, just kind of talking about the responsibilities of FAPE, which is a free and appropriate education. That's making sure it's just in accordance with the law, the state and federal law, those updates that are being made. JGF, GAA, which is stock supply of emergency medication, is just a new policy with the adding of the epinephrine and Narcan. A recommendation for some guidance on that for keeping the stock of that is a new policy they're recommending for districts to consider. And then that self-medication, for student self-medication, administration of that, there's some just updates, revisions based on state statute that needs to be addressed in that policy. And then KN, which is the complaints, it's just basically wrapped up from this, from the federal fiscal fund, that if there's a whistleblower and the complaints and the process needs to be followed, and that's just language that's been added for that. So that's just a general overview, but like I said, it's just something for you to review over the month. We'll be taking action on those in January, and if you have questions ahead of time, please let me know. But the main one I could see is just that fundraising one that we might have some different tweaks to it before we come to the meeting, and we'll share those prior to. So this is a biannual update. We'll get another one in June or July. They'll provide some updates for us to consider as a district. Part of being the service that they provide for districts, being a member of the KSB is Kansas Association of School Board. Alex, that's what that is. I'll try to remember my acronyms.
That's hard. Yeah, that's hard. When I started my job, they gave me a 100-page document.
Yeah.
Acronyms.
Yeah.
Any other questions on KSB stuff? And we'll get those before the next board meeting to review and all that?
Yeah, we'll have that for you to know what's going to be recommended beforehand, so you'll have some time to generate questions or ask questions beforehand. So.
Sounds great. All right, farm credit donation for the ag program.
So farm credit has donated $500 to help go towards plasma cutter and some welding carts for the ag program. Marion's excited about this opportunity, so just wanted to approve that donation from Farm Credit and thank them for their support of the ag program and our students and staff.
Questions? I'd like to make a motion to accept the $500 donation from Farm Credit for the ag program.
Second.
Clinton.
Aye.
Carson.
Aye.
Heppenstall.
Aye.
Homemeyer. Parsons. Fagan. Tice.
Aye.
All right, Three Lakes report.
I went over there Monday night. It's a pretty light meeting, actually. It didn't last very long. That bus that Todd was talking about months ago, it's supposed to have been delivered yesterday. I don't know if it did or not, but
Yeah, I didn't hear.
finally was supposed to have made it. It's going to be completely logoed up, had a wheelchair ramp in it, and so they were really looking forward to getting that. So hopefully that did come through. And then, you guys probably already know that they were looking at doing a blended payroll,
Blended overtime.
blended overtime, and running that all through Three Lakes instead of Patty having to do it. They've dropped that idea, so it's all yours.
The district decided it was best just to keep it
Yeah,
in-house.
just keep it the way it was, yeah.
I don't mind.
So that's about it. Just really like,
Anything about the building?
nothing at all about the building this last meeting.
This was a hot topic last month and no topic this month?
Didn't come up at all.
Perfect.
So I don't know, unless Ted knows something.
No, we didn't talk about it at our meeting either, so.
They're building over in Linden, the Three Lakes building over in Linden, it's got some structural damage, foundation damage, and the bid to fix it was about half the value of the whole building, so they tabled it for a while. See how that goes.
Yeah, where's our bus?
It's still early summer, late May.
Summer?
Last update I gave was May, early summer.
That was an activity bus, correct?
Yes, activity bus.
You better order another one as soon as this.
Might as well order it now, so we'll get 2 years out there.
You didn't sell it, if we don't need it.
Craziness. Building reports. Nothing too crazy to report? Any questions?
How many days you got left for Christmas break, Natasha?
I don't know.
Yeah,
She put me on the
right.
spot.
Yeah, right.
What is today? Actually, this week, a student walked by and they asked me, they were like, this week is going by so slow. I'm like, I know, what is today? I have to ask myself that on a daily basis. Like, what is today? Is today Tuesday, Thursday? No, Wednesday, so. Plus, I think with the, with the preseason tournament going on, it like gets me confused, because I'm like, wait, they're playing tomorrow. Yeah.
At 8 o'clock, right? Tom?
Yeah, yeah.
What, 3 and 8 tomorrow? Is that what it is?
Is it 3:30?
3:30.
3:30, yeah, 3:30, 8.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
When's all the Christmas parties, Dan?
Next Friday morning, I specifically said that's when the Christmas party should be, so hopefully it's Friday morning, since we dismiss at 11:30.
Oh, Friday's a half day.
Yeah, so.
And you're making snow over in the junior high gym, correct?
I'm ready for winter.
I don't know, we might be making snow in here.
I know, I'm telling you.
Gotta be used to it, hanging out in the cooler all the
I
time.
know, but
Try to get away from that, huh?
Any other questions about the building reports? Superintendent report.
So last year brought information from the U.S. School and News Report, or U.S. News and World Report for the school recognition. Once again, they recognized the middle school and the elementary school for their success. The middle school was ranked number 61 out of 290 middle schools for their performance based on their demographics. And the elementary building was ranked 154 out of 641 schools. So I provided the link for you there to kind of show you what's all taken into consideration for that recognition. So I just know of 2 years that this has been, or received recognition for it. I'm sure there's been other years to do that, but I just wanted to point that out and remind you guys of that, and just appreciate everybody's efforts for that recognition. So. Facilities update, speaking of the middle gym, we got a quote for that, to replace the heating unit in that unit, but there is no timeline and we're going to get that piece of equipment, so hopefully in the near future we'll know, and hopefully it's in place before Christmas break's over. No, before we come back from Christmas break is what we're hoping, but we don't know.
Action on it?
technically, we should take action, but I didn't have it on there, but that quote is on there for $39,000 to do that. We need it, so, I mean, we could do it later when we actually get our, $37,927, but, I mean, technically, you need to take action on it, but we could wait, because depending on when it's gonna get here too.
If it's a 2-month deal, or, we don't, do we have a backup plan? Or
I don't, Dan's
we
working on that, what
something?
alternate heat is, so he's kind of waiting to see what that timeline is, but we're just gonna try to limp through here before break and manage the game as best we can, but if it's 2 months, we'll come up with an alternate plan of heating that up somehow, I don't know how, but.
How many nights do we have that's gonna be affected from
Just one home game for,
junior high?
just for junior high that we've been dealing with already, but then we've been adjusting practices, and Mr. Fort says the boys are tough, so they go in the middle school gym, so we've
Yeah,
been
when you get
adjusting.
sick, I'll send you.
Really, once they get warmed up, it's not too bad for the players, I don't think, but it is cold, I mean, it is cold in there, but we should be all right. And PE classes have just been using the high school gym. We really don't have a lot of overlap during the day. Now, elementary kids, when they go in for recess because it's cold outside, they'll probably still want to wear their coats in the gym, but
Is there some kind of heater we could just get to knock the chill off over there, like something?
Dan was supposed to be looking at some, but we haven't had that conversation, but he's trying to figure out what an alternative heat source would be, so.
But by the time that we meet again, Dan's gonna be done.
Yeah, but we can have a plan in place, I mean, just to get that going, so. I know he was looking into it, but I don't know what he's found out, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Well, it looks like the work they're gonna do pretty much is a new unit, but what would a whole new unit cost compared to that 37 grand? 38 grand?
I don't know that. I can find that out.
I mean, if it's somewhat close, and, I mean,
Would it be quicker to get a whole new unit rather than repair?
yeah, I mean,
I'll
maybe
check.
it's easier to get a unit than parts. I mean, I know parts is harder sometimes than.
Yeah.
Do we know how old that one was?
I was 20 years old, so.
Oh, Daddy,
yeah, this one's only 12, because the gym's
20.
new, this is like 11 years old.
it's 11?
Yeah,
Whenever we
Dean
built
told me
it.
that it wasn't installed properly.
Yeah.
And so over the years, it just kind of, the coils everything kind of warped because they weren't installed. And then I don't know if like that, the propane or the smell
Yeah, I don't
that
know.
came about,
I don't
you know,
know.
that one night.
Makes
with the middle
sense,
school
but-
games had any correlation to it at all, but then all of a sudden, not very much longer after that, it
2 weeks later.
Okay.
Yeah, it might not be a bad idea, just to
Yeah,
see
we'll
what
just hold off
else.
on record, but just so you have an idea what's going on with this, is more of what I'm letting you guys know, but I'll look into that unit thing, and see how that goes.
It might be a quicker fix to get a brand new one. Might cost a little bit more, but maybe get a warranty or get it installed correctly. It'd be,
All right. Awesome.
who did the work the first time?
Whoever,
Well, it would have been contracted with
Yeah,
when that
person.
person was,
Yeah.
when that gym was built. So I don't know who that would have been.
Sure. Okay. So just kind of winding up the year with facilities, I don't think there's any other major issues that I'm aware of, as we go through that. So, fund accounting updates, we're growing in our learning as it relates to that. Payrolls should have rolled out today, right? Process today, maybe?
Process, so they'll pop out Friday.
Yeah, Friday it'll go out, so hopefully no hiccups again. Accounts payable, again, we're doing fine on accounts payable, it's just that balancing in general ledger where some things got placed differently, so we're trying to figure that out. Pam was not happy Monday, but she was much better today when she was getting some things going, so she just couldn't make it happen to get that done, but she wants it to be right before she presents it to you guys, so, which I understand totally, so. I did the training for the web link, which is the employee portal part of that, so we'll be test driving that here, and looking to hopefully go live sometime after the first of the year, where staff can have access to their leave, they can make leave requests, submit requisitions, different components, so get reports out of that. We think we have it set up, but we got to do some checks with it to see how it actually works. So, but we're hoping to have that up and going after the first of the year, web link on that, so. So we're still learning, we still have some things to do. We have fixed asset inventory that we need to get training on, negotiations module, that's part of that. We can kind of wait on that one, but we have training on that. Budget is next too, just building those budgets and helping that. And it seems like there's one more module. Human resources?
Yeah.
Human resources, so we have to receive training on those individual kind of training, and then we can start building that and working it in, so it's just a process that we have to go through, so. It's gonna take a few months to really get lined out, but we're on the right track and going good with it, so. Perkins Consortium update, we did form that consortium with the Three Lakes districts, and so we'll be pooling our money to have that consortium and working together, but we'll still work as individual buildings, but it allows us to continue with that program and to provide resources and professional development specifically as it relates to Perkins. So we did get that submitted, and that will start next school year officially for the consortium on that, so. I was contacted today from Jeanette Strongbrim. It's been a while, a few months ago. I don't know if this board was in place when we had that conversation about the community sign located out by the fire department. Jeanette's trying to get a grant to get it replaced and updated, so she's making progress on that. At the time, there was consensus from the board to make a donation of $3,000. I just wanted, in order for her to do this grant, she wants just that commitment. I said, well, I asked and bring it up, but I don't see any issue with that. But she just wanted to include that the district will be providing support for that community sign as it did in the past when it first came out. But that's what they donated for that one, and then the same amount would be requested for that. And she's getting a community foundation and then another grant from someone else to help pay for that, so.
Banks still donate money towards that?
Well, they're still kind of in limbo about that, so I don't know where they're at. They were still, last meeting we had, which was several months ago, they were deciding what they wanted to do, but everybody's trying to help out as best they can, so. But there's several community partners in that.
Who was in charge of posting?
I think it was us.
Andrew was in charge, he had it set up somehow, my understanding, but this would be a more web-based that could do it from any computer, not just a single one. If you had to log in, a new updated one would be allowed for more access for other, the city to use it, for the school to use it, and the chamber to use it, and they could put their own stuff up as through a process to do that, but it'd be all web-based. This newer board would be that way, so it's my understanding. So just consensus of board being okay with that, continuing again. So once they get official, then we'll take official action on that, so.
I think sign's not too old. Is that common that they just
I think
come out of?
what I've been told, the way it's sitting and the sun is just beating.
I figured that meant.
Just
The problem is the reason the west side doesn't work is because it gets the brunt of the sun. And it's more, I know it's more than 10 years old because when the city tried to replace, like each individual is a square with the lights.
Right.
Kind of like a number on a scoreboard.
Yeah.
Well, those are no longer available. And so that's part of the problem itself. So there's really no way to fix it other than getting a brand new sign.
Yeah.
And, years and years ago, it was much more feasible economically. We had a lot bigger pool of money to go by. Now, not so much. So they're looking for alternative sources to kind of help offset that cost, so.
Thank you.
Dan just texted me and said that to replace that unit would be like about what we paid for that one in the high school, which was around $250,000. So for a new unit. So that's what we paid for that one. That's what we used.
Wait for parts.
Mostly for extra money with that one, so. Lastly, just Christmas breaks on the horizon coming around. You guys talked about that. The last day will be the 20th. It is a half day for students, dismissing at 11:30. And then we'll be ready for break. Return, I think it's the 6th of January. Have a work day.
7th.
And we return on the 6th,
Yeah.
students.
Yeah,
return
so
on the
work day on the 6th for staff, and then students return on the 7th on that Tuesday, so. So looking forward, it's been a good first semester, but I know a lot of people are ready for break.
Are we doing anything specific for staff?
No, we haven't.
Like nothing?
Nope. There's no plan to do anything specific for staff.
Okay.
So,
Could we decide to do something for staff? I mean,
having a middle school dance Friday.
The super spreader, that is.
and I helped years ago, and I vowed that was the last one. So, yeah.
Has the board ever sent anything out, like Christmas cards or anything?
I mean, I know that we've done like, the school has done like chamber bucks, that are through, Chamber of Commerce. I know that teachers have gotten things like even
That's
just candy.
Kind of been a no-no with gift cards and chamber bucks.
Why
I was
is
just
it?
thinking even just a card, sometimes a thank you goes a long way.
They consider it taxable income if you do a gift card or anything to that effect.
Is there a limit
Yeah.
to turn it taxable? Is it like $25 or is
Whatever.
anything taxable?
Whatever you give is considered taxable.
I don't know. I would like to see us do something.
Okay.
Other than.
We could get a family picture of all of us.
Yeah.
Put it on a card and just.
Don't let they
We
put
can
stars out as
Yeah, absolutely.
Put it on eBay and money raised.
I got long arms, we can do a selfie.
Yeah. Do ugly sweaters.
Yeah, a card would be nice, maybe.
all right, I'll look into something, see what we can do.
Quick question, do we have any middle school teachers doing letters training offered at that level?
Yeah, I mean, it was offered to everyone, but they are not required to have it, so some of them didn't, some of them are taking it. Mr. Gonzalez is in his second year.
Okay.
I think Mrs. Crawford, she's doing it right now, correct? Once you get out of the elementary, the more of the teaching of reading isn't what the teachers do. I mean, they're working on, they already know how to read, so they're doing other stuff.
I was just concerned with the 27% proficiency. It seems really low to me.
It's something we're working on.
With the Perkins Consortium, I know that you guys just formed it, but I know this is the first time that we are meeting as a board since doing the Reality U. I didn't know if that was brought up.
It was in the conversation. I said, I hope that's something we could do as a
Okay.
group, because I know in the other districts, they didn't say yea or nay, but they were all positive about that experience. But yes, I did bring that up about
Thank you.
that being a positive thing for kids, so,
Yes. I don't know the kids' perspective.
I think the kids enjoyed
I
it.
thought so.
Yeah.
I had a good time. I had fun.
Yeah, it was-
I've heard
Yeah.
several kids talk about it.
Yeah.
And
I actually got a card from him this afternoon.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
cool,
Thank you, code. Brought about a shot.
awesome.
I thought you were talking about from your child.
No, they don't hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of high school girls brought it by.
Yeah, so that's all I have for my update.
All right, so Mr. Song would give everyone a moment to have any board member comments. Anyone want to say anything? You want to start over here, Corey, and go down the line?
No, why don't you start? You're the president.
All right, I can start.
This gives me time to think.
Good call. First of all, I'd like to thank admin for doing an awesome job. I know the first part of the school year is a little rough sometimes. So I do appreciate everything you guys do. Teachers, appreciate everything they've done this year. Lots of hard work goes into planning. It's no easy task. I 100% could not be a teacher. I don't know if I have the patience for it. My kids drive me nuts enough. Couldn't imagine 30 kids at a time. I would just probably not have any hair. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Hopefully everyone has a great, safe holiday break and get some downtime and recharge your batteries and come back for the second half of the year and really take it by the horns and finish us off strong.
Well, yeah, same sentiments. I just know from a parent's perspective how fast it feels like 2024 has flown by, so I can't imagine from a teacher's perspective. So just the time and energy that you guys put into the school cannot go understated. I mean, it's so appreciated. So thank you all so much for everything that you do for our students to better them and to better our communities. So thank you. And definitely know that next semester comes with a lot of tests. So I appreciate your guys' energy and resting over the break to get ready for the next year. So thank you. Merry Christmas.
Don't know if they rest though. They probably go just.
Just encouraging it, positive, reinforce it.
No, thanks everybody. It seems like everything's going well. We get complaints every now and again, try to do everything we can as a board to take care of it, but just remember that's what we're here for, to listen and take care of anything you guys need. As far as you guys, reach out to us anytime. Teachers also, so have a Merry Christmas.
Mine's kind of on the same vein, but it's not only just the administrators. The events that I go to, which is practically everyone, but bus meetings, just around town, the communities coming to the ball games. Everybody seems so compassionate and so into our school. And from the staff, everybody we've got, it's just pretty amazing to me. It's just, we're clicking pretty well right now, I guess. I appreciate it. So, thank you.
I don't think I have anything intelligent to add at this point. Merry Christmas, thanks for all your hard work.
You said everything earlier.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah, PJ pretty well topped it all off. Kind of like Jim was saying, you know, the community's a huge help to the school. You know, basketball games, football games, there's always, I mean, that's a full house every time. So the community's got to be a big thanks to them too. Teachers, principals, everybody's just easy to work with and great people to talk to even. So, but I think that's it. And Merry Christmas for everybody. Wrap it up, bring it home.
Yeah, I went off faster than I thought. No, I mean, everything that they've mentioned is spot on. I mean, I look at it as our district is very successful. We're successful in practically everything that we've set out to do, whether it's academics, athletics, all the different, choir, band, everybody that's involved there. The community is huge, for all of our different events. I mean, you look at middle school basketball, for example, we pretty much double or triple the amount of the opposing, school that's there to watch, even on away games. So, but I appreciate all the staff, kind of like what Tyler talked about. If anybody has any questions, concerns, positives, negatives, let board members know about whatever it is you want them to know about. So, because I think that's the hardest part is, PJ as president probably gets the brunt of everything. I know Tyler gets a lot of stuff too, but all of us can listen and we can bring things to Ted if need be or to help guidance. And I mean, I think our community is pretty in tune with the school district. You look at the applicants for the open position, all of them were excellent. I mean, so moving forward, I think it's very important that people are willing to be on the, put themselves out there to be involved. So, and the site council, I've never been on the site council before, but I mean, it was pretty cool to see all the different types of people there, staff, public, people that had kids, people that didn't have kids that were involved. So, I mean, that's all excellent. And then moving into our facilities, that's going to be a fun conversation about what we can continue to progress with this district and what our future holds. So, anyway, Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Y'all guys.
You guys got anything?
Thank you for your support. We appreciate you. I know that your guys' position is hard too, so have to make hard decisions. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. I move that we go into executive session to discuss confidential personnel matters pursuant to the non-elected personnel exception under coma, and the open meeting will resume here in the library at 8:45. The board invites Mr. Hassan to attend.
Second.